Hey everybody, it's David Gray. Today we are going to talk about my current palette. I've had a lot of questions about what colors I use and what brands of paint and so forth. So I am going to show you what I use. I like to set my paints up on a handmade palette that I made myself that fits me just dandy. And this is how I set up. First of all, I've got titanium white from M. Graham. Now there's a couple other whites that are sometimes handy to have, especially if you need a little faster drying time. And I'm going to talk about those in a minute. But then we've got Hansa Yellow Deep. We've got Yellow Ochre. Oh, by the way, the Hansa Yellow Deep is Gamblin, Yellow Ochre from M. Graham, Cad Orange from M. Graham. We've got Venetian Red from Winsor & Newton, Quinacridone Violet from M. Graham, Burnt Sienna from M. Graham, Raw Umber from, guess what, M. Graham, Ivory Black. Oh, stop booing, you guys, from M. Graham. And we've got Ultramarine Blue and Phthalo Green, both from Gamblin. Now, a quick note about brands. I am not a proponent of a particular brand. You need to use a tool that works for you. I like the M. Graham colors. They are made with a walnut oil vehicle instead of a linseed oil. And I don't know what it is, but I just like the feel of them. They just feel good to me. They feel good with the way I paint. And that's what you need to find. You need to find something that works for you. Also, this palette sometimes changes. Sometimes I will add a color, sometimes I will subtract a color. Sometimes I find I'm relying on a particular color way too much and I'll remove it. I'll just say, you know what, I'm going to see if I can live without this color I'm addicted to. And it's really interesting what happens when you do that. So it's not a big deal to me what brand you use, as long as it's a good brand, it's archival, you know, the company's tested it to make sure it's not going to crack and all that stuff. So I would recommend staying away from student brands, unless you want to use them for studies. I know some people like to do little color studies with student brand work or student brand paints, and I can see you doing that, but I just like to use what my professional work is done with. And so that's that. So if you want to use a different color, add something, go for it. Do what's fun. You know, some people like lots of bright colors. Hey, you know, if you like that, do it. If you like Winsor & Newton paints, go for it. If you like Old Holland, go for it, you know. So anyway, that's that. I also have here this is kind of my standby medium, Daniel Smith painting medium for oils and alkyds. It's an alkyd gel, and it looks like this in that little square there. And I just add a little bit of it to my mixes as I mix on the fly, and it just helps the drying time. It's also a great glazing medium, and maybe we'll cover that subject in another video. A couple other colors I like to have on hand, like I mentioned, the whites. I also like to have some alkyd white when I am just slammed and I got a deadline I got to get done. I don't have time to wait around. Add that a little bit of that to my white. This is a nice white too. I've used this quite a bit. Permalba. It's got a little bit of lead in it. It also dries a little faster. It feels a little more. It feels a little different than the M. Graham white. But it's a good one you might want to check out. It's a little thicker. It's not quite as juicy or spreadable, or however you want to say that, as the M. Graham. If you find you want to do some bright colors, you may want to augment what I have here with something else. This is Cadmium Hue Light. Daniel Smith has come up with some really nice cad hues. They are not toxic, and they approximate the the old cadmiums, and they're safer. And I gotta say, they do the job. I'm pretty impressed with them, with most of them. We got organic vermilion, or maybe some cad red scarlet hue. You may want, some people like alizarin. This is a great traditional alizarin crimson substitute. It's called alizarin permanent from Gamblin. I think most of the companies are making a alizarin permanent type of product these days. Transparent red oxide is a nice one I like to have for glazing. It's just got some beautiful orangey glazes you can use for things like stained or tarnished silver pots and things like that. I use burnt umber for the same purposes. I really like burnt umber in glazes. It's just really pretty. I don't use it in my normal mixes, but sometimes at the end for glazing, I will glaze to get some warmth, maybe in the shadow under a nose or in an eye socket or something like that. Also, I like to have cerulean blue on hand. I don't use it much, but it can at times come in really handy. If I was a plein air painter, I would have cerulean on my palette all the time. And it also works really well in skin tones at times to decrease chroma and to just give a little hint of blue in some of the paler skin tones that we come across with. Same reason I like to have chromium oxide green on my palette at times. So this works in my skin tones too. I don't always have it, but once in a while I like to have it. Just depends on the subject, what colors is surrounding the skin tones, and what I think I might need. But for the most part, I don't use this stuff. I just use my buddies here. So that's my palette, and hope that was informative.